Yep. Indeed. Destroying more monsters. Probably gonna get another chest filled with useless junk that I probably don't need.
Who knows? Could be another key. Could be a compass.
I highly doubt it since I already have a key.
Could be your mom's perfume.
Or in my mom's case, oils.
There you go. Yay, more money you don't need.
I think I finally end up spending it on something. I just can't remember what.
Maybe supplies.
I don't remember.
Do you have all the other commentary to this Let's Play? Oh, let's run through.
Yeah, we're like halfway through the dungeon and we're still like at the 30-minute mark, but it's an hour and 20-minute video, so I wonder what took me so long to get through this in the first place. There's gotta be a point where I got stuck or something.
Like here?
No.
Well, now you're killing these enemies. I hate it when that happens to me. This is at the point where I just use bomb arrows right when I see these guys, because I'm like, I don't feel like dealing with them. Shoot the ground. Call it good. You're being awfully patient with them. I'm quite excited to see how the Wii U Zelda game's gonna work.
The size and scale? What do you mean? Oh.
Because it seems like they're changing to like a Zelda Skyrim type of thing. But obviously you're Link, you're not playing multiple characters. At least what it looks like so far.
I remember looking up something where when they were developing A Link to the Past, it was originally meant to be like a game where you could switch between 3 different characters. I guess because Zelda didn't really have a set formula yet until Link to the Past came around. But you were meant to like switch between like a character that was pretty much like Link. I think like an archer and a mage or something.
I don't know why you just do that statue, but okay.
I don't know either. Nobody knows. Anywho, time to fight some mini boosts.
Yeah, the scale looks great. I'm excited to see how the game's gonna work.
Too bad it won't be at E3.
Next year, though.
I don't mind waiting another year as long as the stuff we get this year is good. I want my next Metroid, darn it. I want a new Metroid game more than anything.
Yeah, the last one we got was Other M.
But nobody liked Other M.
Had a lot of potential. These are my favorite mini bosses. Especially when you have to fight multiple of them in the Cave of Ordeals.
Yeah. They're actually kind of all over the place in Hyrule Castle, though.
Yeah, they kind of are. You could use the Helm Splitter here.
Yeah, I think even when I was doing this recording, it had been a while since I did that one portion where I got the Helm Splitter, so maybe I might have forgotten. Oh, here we go, making some progress.
Yeah, as long as he has a shield, you can do Helm Splitter. Once he loses all his armor, that doesn't work anymore. Looks like he's just waiting for an opening right now.
Yeah, I guess I meant to do a Helm Splitter there. Or I meant to go by the side. I don't know. I don't know
I got
anymore.
a piece of armor off. Take a stab there. Oh. Or just roll. There we go.
I was about to say, this, guys, is the precursor to Roll Glory. Good old
I'm
rule.
interested in seeing what kind of Zelda games they'll be bringing in the future.
I actually wouldn't mind another one like Link Between Worlds, for example. That was like one of the best Zelda games I've played in years.
That's definitely different. I like that a lot.
Link Between Worlds has like some of the best replay value I've seen in a video game from a long time.
And they do the dungeons in any order.
I always go for the Swamp Temple first.
And then the hard mode is just really hard. It's like every attack it takes off 4 hearts of damage.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I felt like hard mode was kind of like tacked on, really.
Yeah, well, I wish this game had one.
True. But Link Between Worlds had a decent difficulty even without the hard mode, at least.
Yeah, it is, thankfully. I love this game to death. It's still one of my favorite games of all time, but as I got older and better at it, I just wish it was harder. But not one that creates challenges either.
Yeah, I went through that portion of the fight faster than the other.
Oh, the spin attack really helps.
Spin attack is so spammable in this game. That's probably why they redesigned it in Skyward Sword, now that I think about it.
Probably.
Made it to where you can't just whiff it out as many times as you'd like.
Yeah, I believe you couldn't do that in the Wii version either, because I wait for it to charge up real quick. But you're playing the GameCube version, so you can whip it out as many times as you want.
Yeah, I've only played the Wii version like a handful of times.
I played it once. It throws me off.
And I'm doing something. I don't know what that something is, but I'm certainly doing something.
Maybe you got called to do something else at that time.
Ugh. Man, I wish there was like a feature on this to where I can see like in the video like where I'm at. As I'm too afraid to skip ahead and see like, okay, when do I get back to this? Okay, thankfully it wasn't too long.
Thankfully, no, it was pretty quick. Thank God for editing, huh?
Oh man.
I wish more people knew how to do basic editing. Because I always have people, not always, but well, at least I used to, where, like, nothing against these people by any means. I mean, it's just some of the worst ones I've encountered, where they're like a brand new Let's Player or a brand new gameplay channel, and they're asking you for advice on how to do something, and you try to give them the best advice you could, and then they don't listen to it, and their quality is still terrible. With the overabundance of gaming videos on YouTube, if your quality is not there, then there's a high chance that they can be watched anyways.
Yeah. So this.
So it kind of bugs me when you try to give someone all this advice, like, hey, here's some cheap capture cards, you can do this or this or this. This is easy to do, and then they're like, oh, well, I'm just gonna do this instead, and it's just completely terrible. I think the worst example is when I told someone how to record a DS game. Like, you get an emulator, you get a ROM, you screen record it, you at least have 4 gigs of RAM on your computer, you're good to go. What does he do? He takes a camcorder, a standard definition camcorder, I might want to add, to his DS screen in the middle of a dark room. Guess how that turns out? Looks like you're drunk while watching it.
I think I know who you're talking about actually, but I'm not going to disclose that name.
Neither am I, that's why I'm just describing the scenario. Oh man. It annoyed me so bad. I'm like, why even spend hours trying to help you? You take none of my advice whatsoever.
I don't have a problem recording DS games like most people do, actually. I
Just capture card.
I tried running Phoenix Wright on here and it ran pretty smoothly. Would I ever do his Phoenix Wright Let's Play though? Probably not.
Yeah, the only DS game I did was Final Fantasy 3. That's only because I didn't have to record the other screen.
Yeah.
uh,
So anywho, this here is the main gimmick of the dungeon. You take this through the entirety of the dungeon. Basically what I meant earlier when I said you go from the top of the dungeon to the very bottom is you go from the top, well, you go to the top to grab this statue, and then you take this statue all the way back so you can find a way into the boss room. So yeah, I think that's a pretty cool gimmick if I do say so myself. You have to actually do some clever things with it in order to get it past certain obstacles that Link would normally get across pretty well, but you kind of have a liability on your shoulders here.
I thought you hit there for a second. Sorry. I like the idea. It kind of reminds me of escorting Ashley around Resident Evil 4. Or just escorting any game character for that matter.
Like, the gimmick of this dungeon is fine, but the way up, going through the dungeon normally, it's a pretty bland ride, if you want my opinion. Which is why this dungeon's pretty low on my list. Also, you can destroy those BMOs once and for all. It feels so good.
Oh, it always does. It's destroy them. So I believe this is the only way you can actually destroy a BMO statue.
And in order to transport these things from one room to the other, you gotta take it to those bell-shaped structures and put it under there. And you'll be good to go.
You still need to get one of those small statues down.
Yeah, you can also use the Dominion Rod on the little statues here. But I guess because they were too lazy to implement this in later dungeons, they created a convenient plot excuse as to why you can't use the Dominion Rod outside of this dungeon.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
It's like, come on, Nintendo, you're just trying to create excuses here.
Yeah.
I mean, you eventually get its power restored back to where, spoilers, you can use it again. Well, what I just said was a spoiler anyway, but this is a minimalist run, who cares? But, yeah, even though you can restore its power later on, to have it, usable in the overworld, I mean, there's not really a whole lot to do with it. Even the later dungeons, from what I recall, don't even use it at all, except for, like, one small portion in Hyrule Castle.
Yeah, this and the spinner definitely were not extremely useful items.
The next dungeon item's pretty fine, though. It's...
Oh, yeah.
It sees an unusual amount of usage, even though it's, like, endgame... even though it's, like, close to the end game,
Oh yeah, I use that the last dungeon item a lot. There's also quite a few art pieces you can get with it. Well, I think only 2 off the top of my head actually.
So, from what I recall, we're pretty close. Yeah, we're pretty close to the boss key right now. I just gotta remember where and how to get to it.
You're on the right track. Bringing this thing back. I mean, you get to the room first if you want to, but the boss key is above you.
Nope.
You need to be higher.
Oh god.
Back to the spiders. Maybe it'll be Spider Link.
Back to the spiders then.
There you go. Now you're where you want to be. No, get up there. No, I guess you can do this first, but you can just get to the middle easier this way. Ah, forget it.
You gotta admit though, that's pretty cool how you... That is pretty cool how you have to bring those down in order to sit those on top of the scale to bring the other statue over to the other side of this chasm.
Oh yeah. That statue's really heavy too.
Okay, so now do I do it?
Okay, now you're doing it. Alright, there we go.
Oh, I sure do.
I like how you can lower yourself with the claw shot. I thought that was really neat in this game.
I still consider the claw shot like a nerf version of the hook shot, though.
Oh, of course it is. That's like how you can lower yourself. Hook shot is one from point A to B. You can't just hang there.
I actually believe, from what I can recall, this dungeon, well, not dungeon, but this room in particular actually puzzled me until I figured out that there's actually a really unique exploit they did to make this puzzle, bleh, make this puzzle work, and I think it's pretty clever. Basically, you gotta use these helmets or masks or whatever to,
Put weights on the switch.
yeah. But you need to use the claw shot in order to transport them, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that stunned me for like a minute or so. Like, how many weights on these switches? There's no more statues. I'm like, oh, don't tell me those things. I think the first thing I tried doing was try to
I'm
grab.
guessing that's why they always had it like that, because I guess at one point they wanted you to realize you can move these around, so you could use these for a puzzle in the future or something.
Perhaps. This reminds me how another way you get those helmets off of those enemies in a different Zelda game, Oracle Seasons. You just use the magnetic gloves and you just rips them right off. I always found that amusing. I played Oracle Seasons way too much too now that I think about it.
Same here.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I didn't have a lot of video games, so I always replayed the ones I did have. And that's how I know so much about those older games.
I was the same way.
Because, mom and dad didn't have all the money in the world to buy you like 10 video games a month or anything. You got one game for your birthday, and that was it, and you gotta wait 3 or 4 months before you can get another one. You play the crap out of that game. And nothing else mattered.
Exactamundo.
I think that's just like 10 rupees. Or 20, okay.
That works. Wait a second, am I doing what I think I'm doing? Oh my god! What?